Happy Friday, North Texas! I'm Scott, and today is Friday, May 15th. We have officially wrapped up Spring 2026 commencement, and for our final episode of the season, we're taking a look at one of the biggest campus attractions of the summer, orientation. But before we get to that, we've got some news to know for our UNT community. Just because things slow down around campus over the summer doesn't mean there's not still plenty to do around town. Whether you're taking summer classes or just in town for orientation or anything else, there's plenty to keep you busy during those dog days of summer. You can check out the Denton Community Market from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Saturday over on Mulberry Street. It's a great opportunity to support local vendors and find crafts, fresh produce, and other great items. You can also catch Twilight Tunes from 6:30 to 8 p.m. every Thursday through June 18th on the courthouse lawn on the square. Enjoy a free concert while you grab a bite to eat from one of the many great restaurants around the square. And Denton's a great place to celebrate America's 250th birthday on the 4th of July. Take in the Yankee Doodle Parade around the square that morning and catch the fireworks show that night at the North Texas Fairgrounds. Check the show notes for links to get more information about all of those events. And now, one last time this spring, let's check in with Zach Babb for the Mean Green Minute.
With the academic year done and the athletic season winding down, North Texas Athletics had a strong campaign in 2025-2026. It started off with a 12-win historic football season back in the fall of 2025. Men and women's basketball both won 19 games in their regular seasons. Women's track and field won the American Conference indoor title, and diving won the American Conference as well. Volleyball posted their first 20-win season since 2017. Tennis had the most matches they've won, 17 in total since 2013. And women's golf has sent 2 athletes to the NCAA Regional. Softball also had a strong season, picking up 28 wins. All in all, since 2023, North Texas Athletics has the second highest overall win percentage in team sports in the American Conference since joining the league in 2023.
Thanks for that update, Zach, and for your reporting all year. I really loved adding the Mean Green Minute to the show this year and look forward to working with Zach again in the fall when we make our triumphant return. Before we turn out the lights and lock up the podcast studio for the summer, we've got a great episode for you today. Of course, we all know campus is a little quieter over the summer, but it's a very busy time for our orientation and transition programs team over in Student Affairs. Orientation is the first step for new students to successfully transition to UNT, and it's a great opportunity for freshmen and transfer students to get to know campus when it's a little less busy. I spoke to two-time orientation leader Colin Wingo to get the inside scoop on what students can expect and how they can make the most of their orientation experience.
Want to talk about orientation today. So let's start. You're an orientation leader. How long have you been an orientation leader?
I am going into my 3rd year as an orientation leader. I'm actually going in as a student coordinator, so I won't be specifically having a small group of incoming freshman students. I'll be doing more of like the background things and more of talking on the microphone to the large body instead of just to like a smaller group.
Okay.
But yeah, the first 2 years I was an orientation leader, just a new one my first year. Then the second one, I was a returning orientation leader who also, not only do they have the small group of students, but they also mentor in a way the new incoming orientation leaders as well.
Nice. Start with, what was orientation like for you? How was that experience, and what about the experience resonated with you?
Whenever I came to orientation, it feels like forever ago, but it was a fun experience for sure. It was definitely nerve-wracking as well. Like I came here with one person because we came from the same city and everything, so we like carpooled here together and all that, but we got separated into our separate groups, so then I didn't know a single person, so that was really the nerve-wracking part.
Mm-hmm.
And like obviously registering for classes and everything and understanding that process was also a very nerve-wracking part through it all. But I'd made some good friends in my orientation group, at least for like, it was people that I could hang out with for the first week of school during first flight week, so I wasn't like by myself the entire time.
Mhm.
But one of my friends that I made, she decided that she wanted to go to a different college, but we still stayed in connection, which is what I really enjoyed was I was be able to like talk to her about how she's doing over at her college she chose, and then I was able to just like talk about how I was feeling here. But all in all, I really liked orientation and it did leave a good impression on me.
Nice. And what made you want to be an orientation leader? Was there something at your orientation experience where it kind of hit you that you would like to do that, or did it come later?
It was kind of a mixture of both. I in high school, I was involved in so much, like probably most of the freshman class always is. I was involved in my band leadership. I was the drum major there, and so I was basically in charge of all of that. I was involved in student council, National Honor Society, and then we also had a leadership class that we had in high school. So I was involved in that as well. And we also had something called Sources of Strength, which is another thing I was involved in. But whenever I got into college, I was like, I couldn't find anything that was remotely close to that type of leadership style that I like to do. And so whenever I saw the orientation leaders and what they were doing, I was like, oh, that kind of looks pretty interesting. But I didn't know how to like just like apply for it or however it's supposed to work. And so like a couple months went by and then randomly my orientation leader, he sent out the like application for the orientation leadership role and I was interested. I was like, okay, I'll take a little peek at it. And so I looked at the application, I went to one of their interest meetings and then they had a pamphlet they gave and so I looked at that too and I was like, this seems like something that I would enjoy. I mean, obviously I enjoy it because I've been doing it for 3 years now. But yeah, that's really what the process for me to like become an orientation leader was. And like obviously you have to go through the interview process, which is kind of a lengthy thing because you have a group interview, which I'd never done before. So it was a pretty interesting experience.
Mhm.
And then you have your individuals if you make it past that, and then you get your offer letter and you have to accept it. And then there's a lot of other like legality stuff you have to do. But that's how I became an orientation leader, basically.
Okay, nice. And then you might have two different answers from your experience as a student and then your experience as a student leader, but what's the best part of orientation?
As a student leader, the best part of orientation for me is being able to meet the students
Mhm.
and like make a connection with them with the short amount of time I'm actually with them. Because like, it's a 2 day process, but I'm not with them the entire 2 days. I'm
Mhm.
with them for probably the majority of it, but not all of it. So being able to like make a connection with them and then help them make connections with each other, that's probably one of my favorite parts as the leader of it. But as a student, it was honestly the dorm. I've never stayed in a dorm before, and so I was like kind of nervous for it. And then whenever I got here, I saw the dorm and I was like, okay, I can rock one night in this. And then I for some reason didn't have like a roommate with me. My room wasn't assigned with a roommate, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I got the entire room to myself.
Nice.
Um, so that was a nice little thing. So I was able to like have some friends over during our little chill down time at the end of orientation, just like chit chat and talk. And then what's the other best part? No, that's really like that was my favorite. Well, I guess like registering for classes was another fun part because I
Yeah, kind of
actually got to you
got
like
that
get
off
in.
the list.
Yeah, you like take it off the list, but you also you're like, okay, I am actually a college student now. Because
Yeah.
during orientation, you're not really a college student yet, but like once you sign up for the classes, you're like locked in because next you have to pay.
Yeah, and well, and I imagine there's a feeling of like, okay, I know what it gives you an idea of what to expect, what your schedule is going to be like for the semester, and what classes you're going to be taking. So it's a big kind of milestone in starting that college journey, huh?
For sure. Like I love registering for classes every single semester. I don't know what it is about it, but it's like my favorite part. So my like last semester is only student teaching, And so I'm only registering for 2 classes, and so I'm like nervous for that, but I'm so excited at the same time.
Nice. And then, so now you've been through orientation as a student. You've been an orientation leader for just now. Any tips, secrets, life hacks for new students coming to orientation to kind of make the most of it, or have the best time, or some bucket list item they need to experience?
Yeah. So the first tip that I would have is get everything that you have to get done before an orientation done. So they have a pre-orientation homework that they need to fill out, and get that completed, which it doesn't take too long, really, that I
Hmm.
remember. I mean, it's been a while, but if you get that done, get your TSI done if you haven't done it yet, submit your ACT or SAT scores if you would like. It's not that required anymore like it was a while ago. But getting everything done that you have to get done before orientation just so that you're not stressed out about that stuff. Because for the TSI specifically, when you come to orientation, if you are in TSI incomplete, you either will they'll either make you go take the test in the morning of the orientation. So it's like 8, 9 a.m. in the morning and you're taking a test that you didn't know you were gonna take. So it's
Yeah.
like a kind of like stress thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to take a test. What? Or like pre-orientation homework, they'll do the same thing basically. Like you have to do this, go and do this. And so you're missing out on like this time just to like meet new people or settle in to your dorm or go to our like student organization fair or our resource fair that we have for them. So that would be one tip. The other one, I told my students this the past 2 years that I've done this, is orientation. There's a maximum of like 600 students there, which seems like a lot, but I tell them to make at least one friend during that time, even if like communicating with other people isn't your comfort zone. Like that's what also the orientations are there for, is to
Hmm.
help them like make those friends. Just because after those 2 days and they're gone, the first time they come back to campus is for first flight week, and that is every single freshman that has been on this campus. So it's like roughly 4,000 something people. I don't ever know the real number, so I make up a number. And I tell them like that's 10 times harder to make a friend during all of that. And then I'm like, if you don't make a friend during that, then you have when school starts, which is the like 40 something thousand people here that could be on campus at one time. So I really strive for them to make a friend during orientation because it is the easiest time to. And then I don't really have any secrets. There's not like a secret to orientation. Just like have fun,
Yeah.
try your
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. Those are all my questions. Is there anything we didn't cover, or anything else about orientation you'd like to talk about, or make sure incoming freshmen know about, or transfer students, or anybody else taking orientation?
I mean, all I would say, because I get this sometimes, some people think that the freshman orientation, you don't have to stay over. Freshman orientations, you have to stay on campus for that one night.
Hmm.
Sometimes people think that a freshman orientation is like a transfer orientation, because transfer orientation, they're only there from like the 7 or 8 a.m. till like 5 or before 5 if they register earlier. But freshman orientation is a complete 2-day process that they have to complete, and they can't just, unless they filled out a certain waiver for other things and it gets approved, they do have to stay on campus. So like making sure they have stuff for like sleeping over, because sometimes I'll have students, they'll come, they don't realize that they have to sleep over, and so they didn't bring anything to sleep with. They didn't bring a pillow, they didn't bring clothes to change into, they didn't bring like shower equipment or like a toothbrush or anything, or even like a comforter. So if I was able to talk to everybody before they came here, I would be like, make sure you actually bring stuff to sleep with.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and we hope there are many great, successful, fun orientations this summer.
Well, thank you.
The way we like to enter interviews on here, can we get a go mean green?
Sure. Go mean green.
Big thanks to Colin for taking the time to talk to us and really appreciate those tips. If you're coming to orientation this summer, make sure you get that pre-orientation homework done ahead of time so you can have more time to make friends and explore campus. Now remember, this is our last episode of the year before the pod goes on summer hiatus. But while we're gone, you can still help us grow by telling a friend about the show, sharing it on social media, or leaving us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen. And don't be a stranger over the summer. You can always let us know what you think about the show directly by emailing podcast@unt.edu or calling 940-565-4341. Until next time, we hope you have a happy Friday, North Texas, and go Mean Green. Happy Friday, North Texas is a production of the University of North Texas. Today's show was produced and edited by Scott Brown with original reporting by Scott Brown. For more information, visit unt.edu/podcast.